should be streaming now, just let me double check. Because this game always... Oh.
Im
You're gonna
Teutoburger
start
Wald
from here.
endet deine Geschichte.
Okay. Hello and welcome to another stream. Just double checking the sound quality. Ah, it should be fine. So, this is Rise of Civilization, the new game I'm playing, and we are gonna be talking about the nations itself and the commanders you get and what's the best commander for you, and later on about epics and legendaries and everything you need to know about commanders. That's the topic of the day. I actually wanted to stream this half an hour ago, but then something started happening and I had to delay and talk about some assholes are trying to be, well, assholes. So, annoying us, very much. So let's start from Rome. Now, Rome is a pretty good civilization to start with. You get Scipio Africanus, which is one of the best commanders to start with, early game. He's good at conquering cities, he has nice defensive bonuses. Why is this saying not live? Is my mic working at all? One second. This is very strange. Because this game always... Okay, now it's working. What the fuck was going on? Something was going on with my fucking stream. So, Scipio Africanus, and we're gonna go put the sound back on. What the fuck? Ah, but you're gonna love it. Scipio Africanus, one of the best commanders to start with. He's good for conquering. He's good with infantry, and overall a very good commander. Very, very good commander. We're gonna move this like here, so it's in the corner. Fuck's sake, I'm stupid sometimes. You get infantry defense by 5%, march speed by 5%, which is also fucking great, and you get gathering speed by 10%. So overall, Romans are pretty good to start with. Now I'm here talking about the nations that you start with and the commanders. Later on, I'm gonna be showing you Scipio. I don't have him maxed yet. I actually didn't focus him at all because I started the wrong nation, and I'll explain later why. Sorry about that. My current nation is Germany. Now, Hermann is very bad. So, whatever you do, don't start with Germany. You get one switch later on, so do not go Germany at the start. You get 5% attack from cavalry, 5% training speed, and 10% action points recovery. This is if you're aggressive and cav commander. This is really great nation. Why I chose it at this point. You get Teutonic Knights, the cavalry special unit. They're really great to play later on, but not at the start. I would like I've seen the guides online, and they're all saying, okay, go with Germany, start with Germany. Germany is one of the best nations. Yes, but not to start with. In my opinion, Rome is really like one of the best nations if you're gonna be PvPing mostly. Is great to start with Germany. Later on you can switch around and go Germany, like when you get the options to switch, when you finally get the cavalry commanders. It all depends on what type of commanders you want to focus. So next one is Britain. This is actually a pretty good nation to start with as well. You get Boudica. If you're going PvE, in my opinion, Boudica is one of the best commanders out there. I have it at level 50. She's actually my highest commander at the moment. And I didn't even start as Britain. I just started leveling her up because I needed her for barbarians and shit. And that's exactly what she's good for. You get her to do PvE stuff against barbarians, barbarians 4. She's pretty good. Early on in the game, she's not gonna be so strong, but what matters the most is, depending on the nation you start with, you get some epic sculptures for that commander that you started with. So you are getting them, and that's what matters, and you have the ability to level the commander up. Other than that, England is, like Britain, sorry, is not that great. 5% attack speed for archers, troop training speed by 5%, which is pretty good, and ally garrison capacity by 20%. Not so great as a nation, but pretty good starting commander, and you can always switch. Next one is actually France, and this is what I started with my ult. The reason I started France with my ult is because Joan of Arc. She's a great buffer. She will buff the hell out of your units, and she has a great AoE spell. She's also good for gathering, not so much for combat, but as a secondary commander she's great. At the moment I'm using her as my first commander on ult, and that's because, well, I don't really invest that much in ult at the moment. Well, I did invest a lot, but you know, like, my spending on ult is like 10% that I'm spending on my main, so I have to focus on 1 or 2 commanders max. So if I'm like to make my ult a buffer buffer character or buffer nation or whatever, I would choose Joan of Arc with Cleo, and they would have really amazing AoE spells to buff up all my units that are fighting in PvP or PvE, depending on what you're doing. Just the really big problem at the moment is it's a hassle switching between them, so that's a problem, definitely. Other than that, special unit is throwing axemen, which is actually infantry, it's not archers. You get increased troop health by 3%, which is kind of good for the buffer nation. Wood gathering speed 10% shit, hospital healing speed is actually pretty good, so that's so-so. Like, the nation is so-so, but you don't get too much out of it. The commander is kind of great. Spain, Pelagius, I don't like. When I was choosing my nation, Pelagius, not so strong in my opinion. Get resource production by 20, and you can get more damage to barbarians. If you're going for PvP, for PvE, it's actually okay, but like, Spain as a nation for me, it's not anywhere near any other nations. It's weak nation. Pelagius, I don't really start leveling him up because I have already cavalry commanders, and there are better cavalry commanders out there. I mean, he's a cavalry and garrison commander, and that's kind of really stupid. So I don't really like Spain as a nation, and you don't get a good commander as well. China is actually pretty good. You get increased troop defense by 3%, action point recovery by 5%, and building speed by 5%. China is not a bad start. You get a really good commander, which is Sun Tzu. He can AoE and shit, and he's infantry commander. So China is not a bad nation to start. Like, building speed by 5% is not really a bad choice until, like, you know, until you build up to max. After that you can change, but troop defense by 3% and action point recovery by 5% is not so bad. I think the Germany is similar. The thing is, you have troop defense on all your units, while Germany only has cavalry attack by 5%, and they only have infantry defense by 5%. This is actually making sure that all your units have 3% extra troop defense, which is getting better the higher level you are. And that's it. Chokuno archers, I don't really play with archers, so for me archers are okay, but there are anti-infantry units. Cavalry will decimate them. Then we have Japan, the nation that I started with. So, you know, like, I'm a fan of samurais, and increased troop attack by 3%, which is pretty good. Scout march speed is shit, and resource gathering speed is actually okay-ish. The commander is pretty bad, in my opinion. It's not made for infantry, and you get infantry special unit samurai. Like, Japanese, like, Japan should like be focused on infantry, although samurais were archers and infantry units. So, I mean, not infantry units, like melee units. So it is kinda interesting on that part, but other than that, the commander is useless. When I figured, like, I started the game and I was like, why the fuck did I get this commander? Like, what's the fucking point? I'm not gonna focus archers, I'm gonna fucking focus infantry. And then I went cavalry, because I got Minamoto, and Minamoto was actually paid, and I didn't realize in the beginning that I'm gonna need to waste a lot of money for him, but, well, fuck it. Then we have Korea, and they get infantry commander and a special unit, archers. You get archer defense by 5, hospital capacity by 50, which is not so bad, and research speed by 3%. These are not the best bonuses, but they're okay-ish. The commander is actually pretty decent. When I got him as a Japan, I started leveling up, and then I just quit on infantry and started doing cavalry for other reasons. Korea is pretty okay-ish, but like I said, I'm looking at the best nation to start with at the moment. It's Britain, France, and China, and Rome. For me, those 4 nations are really great to start with, because you get really good starting commanders that you can level up along the way, and that they're gonna stay with you. They're gonna stay with you. That's the most important part. The other commanders, like even Korean commander is pretty good. Like this commander is pretty good, but you get better stuff with the other ones. We have a new nation called Arabia that arrived a week ago or something, or 2 weeks. I don't know. Baibars, and their commander is, I think, cavalry commander and conqueror. If you're gonna be focusing, it's kind of difficult to explain because the skills were nerfed a week ago, so I didn't really have time to check what exactly was nerfed, but it was nerfed a little bit. Anyway, they're similar to Germany. You get 5% extra attack by cavalry, and the good thing about Arabia is rallied armies give 5% more damage, which is pretty good when you have 1.5 million rallies. So if you really want to have somebody that's going to rally all the time, this nation is not so bad choice. Like I'm thinking of it, maybe to choose them, but I'm not really a fan of the houses, in my opinion. Like I was never a fan of that area. Overall, the commander, if you're going cavalry, it should be pretty good. I'm gonna check up on that when we go through all the commanders. Then we have Ottomans. Archer held by 5%, troop march speed by 5%, and active skill damage. This is pretty good for nuking builds. And I think Osman is a nuker in the build. If I remember correctly, he buffs the skill damage. Because they're quite new, I didn't start with them yet. Maybe in the future we'll see if I make a jumper account, and I'll explain what's a jumper account, which I didn't do because I didn't know. This is my first fucking kingdom. It's pretty okayish as a commander, I think. It got nerfed, but I think he's still okay, because if you make a nuking commander like Minamoto and him, they really contemplate each other. Then you have Byzantium. This was actually going to be my choice to go. Oh yeah, they have archery units, Janissary, so not so bad, not so good. So Byzantium, increased cavalry held by 5%, stone gathering speed by 10%, and hospital capacity by 15%. This is actually not so bad, because you're gonna need stone a lot, especially if you're gonna focus on cavalry. You get extra hospital capacity, and your cavalry has higher HP, so that's not so bad. I think HP should have higher growth than attack and stuff, so 5% is not so bad. Belisarius, I don't remember if it's cavalry commander. We'll double check now, just a moment. So we finished with that. Let's go to the commanders, and we are gonna go with we're gonna leave Frederick for now. I'm gonna talk about Boudica now. I didn't choose her at the start. I got her later on in the game, and I kind of fell in love with her because she's actually pretty good. She's integration, peacekeeping, and skill. Integration is a pretty shitty skill, so in my opinion it should be. I think it's pretty shitty. Yeah, that's the shitty one. So I'm avoiding it altogether. Peacekeeping and skills are here. This was not my original peacekeeping skill. I had to remove some of the stuff like this things, and I'm missing 1 point here. That's because I got her to level 50. What you want is this, all of this. You don't need this if you're not rallying, but I'm rallying the forts usually, so it's quite good. because you get 9% in the end. I'm missing 1 point in here because, well, I got her to level 50 and wanted to max out the skills, because Minamoto benefits from that really a lot. You get insight here, reduce action point by 10, which is really good if you're gonna be doing lots of it. You get extra experience. I removed it because she's level 50. I'm gonna not focus on her so much, so every level gained is actually okay-ish. And this is really great in the beginning. If you're starting as a new nation, and if you go Britain, you want to go here. Like, this is the first thing you want to do. You can get more barbarian skill. You can get more experience gained for both her and the secondary commander that's gonna be with her, and you get the free resources. Now, this point in the game, the free resources, like level 1s, are not so, like, you get 15 in the end, so that means every time you kill a barbarian you get 15,000 food, 15,000 wood, let's say 10,000 stone, and what, 5,000 gold. Let's end it like that, or 7.5k gold, yeah, that's something like that. But that's the, we really want this. Like, this is the peacekeeping skill. You go here. You can do with that with her, or if you really don't care about choosing your starting commander and you want to spend money, go for Minamoto, get him to peacekeeping, and just stay with this part, and you will kill barbarians. You will gain a lot of shit. But keep in mind, Minamoto is very, very expensive. I think you need over 200 euros to get him to max skills and shit, and that's very expensive. Like, if you're going for a free to play, that's okay. Like, you're not gonna spend like that. Maybe first couple of levels you're gonna get like it's 1 euro, 1 euro, 1 euro, and then like it goes to 5 euros, 5 euros, and then it goes to fucking 10, and then at the end to 40 and 100. You get me? There we go. Now the skill tree part is pretty good. You can avoid this one because you don't really want to increase skill damage taken. This one I really like, and of course gain 100 rage, so her skills are gonna be popped earlier. You also have that here. Whenever she uses a skill, she gets 60 rage restored immediately. You get normal, like every time you normal attack you get 9 rage. So basically what you're doing with Boudica is pumping your rage and rage and rage, so you get your skills up at all times, and you get bonus for skill damage, like all this, and skilled active damage, blah 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 blah. It's really, really good. Integration part of the tree is really shit because this 50% they're not that great. Like, the only thing I want from here would be this, but everything else, oh, this would be also nice. We're going back to this tree. This one is good, but you don't really want that. Like, healing part is really nice, but damage taken by 15% in the end is really, really bad. March speed, if you want, you can go for it. You have march speed here and march speed here, so that's a lot of marching speed gain, and this is kind of okay. But like I said, these parts are not really worth it. I would prefer you to go this part into skill tree. You gain much more for Boudica than that. Now we're gonna go through her skills. We have Lament of Insurgent, which is her main skill, which she has been buffed with this one. It actually buffs up her damage by 400, damage factor 400, yeah, increase. Reduces the rage of the target, so the enemy will not use their skills fast enough, and you're always gonna be like, every time you use a skill, like after 10 rounds of using your skill, they're gonna be missing 1 round of skill, and that gives you advantage. Then you have this part, which is like a crit for your normal attacks, which is kind of great. I really like this. Like in small skirmishes, like 50 to 50, which we tried yesterday, Boudica is not that great. But in big ones, like 150, 150, I think she's much better. I really need to test that out. But later on in the game, nuking builds are going off, and then you don't really have that great of an advantage. This is her passive skill, so whenever, like, that's the thing, she has this passive skill which buff up her troops. This one buffs up her main skill, or actually it's an addition to her main skill, which like you can always read this, and this because it automatically uses it. So she gains 50 rage as well. So whenever an enemy uses something, you gain advantage of 150 rage because they get minus 100 and you get plus 550. Then on the skill tree you get plus 60 restored, and you have 10% chance every time to get 100 from normal attacks, and you get shitloads of stuff. So overall, like, I did study my Boudica, and I'm theory crafting a lot around her. She's not good in PvP. Like she gets this group battle, like it's 25% extra damage to barbarians and experience gain. That's pretty nice. But in PvP, if she's going against nuking builds, she's like on smaller amounts, she's not gonna be able to work because she's not made for PvP. She's made for PvE, and that's her main advantage. So I focus on my PvE element first because the server is kind of dying at the moment, so I try to get that out. Other than that, she's pretty great. Like, I leveled her to 50, so that's pretty nice. That's Boudica for you. If you're going to focus on barbarians, go Britain, get Boudica, level her up, because you're gonna keep getting sculptures for her, and she's gonna be fine for you. Trust me on that. Like people are trying to use Scipio for rally forts, and they need 400k troops. I can do, like, that's level 3 fort. I can do Boudica, I can rally a fort with 220 troops. Yes, they are tier 4 mostly, but I only need one person to come with me, and that's usually my ult, and I can do the fort alone, basically. Like, because it's me doing forts, and my ult had level 2 units, not level 3, so it's like overall you get like a mix of tier 3, tier 4 units in my rally, and I can do tier 3 forts by almost half the amount that it's supposed to have. And some people cannot even do it with the amount they need. So overall, I think my build for Boudica is good, and if you're doing things like me, it will give you an advantage in rallies, that's for sure. Also, I can do like 15 to 20 level 20 to level 22 barbarians now before I have to go back, so that's pretty good, and that's usually like they work together. Now I'm not gonna do Cao Cao next. I'm gonna do Minamoto because it pairs with Boudica, so I use him as a secondary commander. So this is him. This is primarily what you can get from buying all the packs until the last one, which costs 100 euros. His first skill is like what's so popular about him. 1400, and you get 1200 damage extra if you pop it, proc it, whatever. You get cavalry bonus, march speed and attack. It's not maxed, like I said. I need to pay 100 euros to max this out. You get 50% extra damage to barbarians, which is pretty good. So like you get 75% with this one. You get more bonus from the peacekeeping tree, blah blah blah, and yeah, you get the point. Like, you do a lot of damage to barbarians, that's why they're so strong. Then you have passive skill. Troops normally have 10 chance to increase damage taken by the target by 15% for the next 3 seconds. Now, in theory, this is pretty good. In practice, I didn't see the effect so much. When I was doing PvP yesterday, it's 50-50, like it doesn't get that much. But this is pretty good overall later on in the game. Keep in mind, you can build Fallout, and especially if you can silence them. There's like so many different tactics. I'm gonna try to go through some of them today. It's just that there's so many commanders and I cannot go through everything in like 2 hours. Then you have his ultimate. When I was checking this, it's actually good, but then you just see one difference. You get 25% extra chance to get this, which is pretty good overall, because if you're doing long battles, you want to have it procced every time. If you're doing short battles, you won't miss it so much. Well, you will, but like it's gonna have really great effect. Now, I'm not leveling him up. I have the stars to level him up. I just don't want to. I want to focus on Cao Cao to level 6, so for other reasons. We're gonna go through talents now. This is how I build him. I didn't go nuke infantry. The reason I'm going cavalry because, like I said, nuking build's good for short. Every other build is good for long. And I'm using him for big 1v1s with my cavalry. So I only went Burning Blood and Latent Power. I might go this later on in the game and this, but not for now. Peacekeeping, if you want, you can go 1 point in here to get your march speed. Later on I might get this one as well. You get more rage gain here, so that's basically 18 rage per attack, which is pretty good. Rallying Cry, this is what I really want because, well, not really on this character, I want it on Cao Cao, but on this character it's pretty nice as well. You get 15 extra damage for first 10 seconds after entering the battle. This can give you enormous advantage. And if I start playing my Cao Cao right and abuse this system, like hit and run, it's going to give me enormous advantage. So this one you really want to take as well. Reduce the skill damage taken by 3%. This is pretty good if you're running away, and this is pretty good if somebody's trying to run away. So overall the skills are kind of focusing on cavalry, of course, but other than that, this is how I'm making my cavalry commanders look. Cao Cao is pretty much the same. I'm gonna show you the talent skill so you know what's the difference. Like, I've focused this, so he has more power to lower the speed. This is what I call the hopping build, because what you do, you can go between RSS tiles or cities, if they're your own cities, not if they're enemies. Like whenever you garrison something, you get 60% speed for 10 seconds after you depart, so that's pretty good. Counter attack damage, blah, and march speed, great. I went here for 3% march speed. This is my hunting build for Cao Cao. I could get this one later. I really want to finish this one because I really want Rallying Cry for him. That's really like on top of my list at the moment, because it's actually perfect for the build I'm making for Cao Cao. You have like Dragon Rider skill, which is direct damage factor, nice attack reduction so they do less damage, and march speed so they are slower. Again, the same skill as on Minamoto. This is really great because you get 30% attack bonus for cavalry, which is 10% higher than Minamoto. Minamoto gains smaller, so it's kinda not paid to win so much when you level up your Cao Cao. This is, I really want this. Troops now have 10 chance to heal portion slightly. I need to max it. I'm really unlucky because when I went to this part I just level him up to max, so I can get procs on this, because the skills when you try to level them, they're totally random, which is RNG there. And I really want, like, this is what I really want on my Cao Cao, and I'm really unlucky with this. After that you get another 25% increase for your cavalry, so you get 30% here, 25% more here. It does lower your defenses, but you don't really care about defenses if you're just fucking destroying them so fast. Like the best offense is offense. So 30% here, 25% here, so that's 55, and you get another 20 here, so that's 75% attack for cavalry if you have full cavalry commander. So these are my three main commanders at the moment. We have Gaius Marius, which you don't really want to focus him that much. He's just the gathering. So what you want to do is build him to here, get him to level 37, and that's it. I'm not gonna explain this tree. It's like just faster gathering, bonus resources upon completing of the gathering. This is defense, but if somebody focus your farmer, you're gonna die. It doesn't fucking matter. This is pretty good. For marching speed, I'm gonna put 3 points in there if I get more experience. Other than that, I don't like him overall. He's made for gathering, and we're gonna keep it at that. You just focus the gathering to the max, try to get that last skill point, and that's it. Lohar, he's pretty similar to Boudica, except the only way you can get him is through a Lohar event. So he has overwhelming force where he does damage and heals your troops. Bonus damage to barbarians by 35% in the end. Bonus he's really good for leveling your commanders because you can get 70%, but like Boudica has this and this kind of combined. It's not so great. Like, see the difference. Oh, where is she? Like, she gets 25% damage and 20% experience gain, while Lothar has 2 sets of skill. They're higher, but they're separate, so he's in my terms weaker because you get 1 bonus skill. Then again, she gets massive damage from her ulti. That like this is split for her. So when you're thinking, they're really similar, but Boudica is easier to level up because you get more sculptures for her. You have this, heal some slightly wound after leaving a battle, which is kind of good if you're doing lots of barbs. I could focus on Lothar, I really don't want to. And the final is buffing up that one to double. Like this is pretty good if you're doing a lot of barbarians later on in the game. What I do usually, if I'm doing guardians or any type of barbarians that require 2 units, I do one with Boudica Kakao or Boudica Minamoto, and the second one I do Lothar and Cao, unless it's easy, then I use Gaius to level up, or some other commander to level him up to gain more experience, because Minamoto at the moment is locked. I'm not leveling him up anymore. I want to focus on Cao and save all my golden stars. So that's the 5. Gathering, again, useless. If you're free to play, they might be doing something, but this is basically your gathering commander. No reason. I'm not gonna explain those commanders. Same like this one. This is more like cavalry, but he's like really cheap one. Not gonna focus on that. Like, I'm not gonna focus on green ones. The blue ones are kinda okay. She's also a gathering commander, so what you want to do is get her to 37 and get the get her like a secondary. She can sometimes be used as a secondary, but not really. Like, I wouldn't use her or Gaius as any of my PvP commanders unless I want them to gain experience. I was talking about Uluji because you gain him from the start. He's a garrison commander basically, or infantry and attack. I'm gonna explain what we want to focus here. Attack target and deal massive damage, blah blah, decrease target defense. So you do damage and then they gain bonus damage taken. Garrison, defense bonus, pretty nice for garrison. He's good, like him and Sun Tzu for garrisoning are pretty good overall, so that's pretty nice. Infantry units 6/6 to 10, which is pretty nice. When attack, has chance stands to increase on troop type by 20 on next turn, so you gain bonus damage. It's like basically getting a free crit, so that's pretty good. Increase attack of infantry units to 15%. That's basically buffing up this one. So he's overall pretty standard commander for infantry. This is like a basis for the infantry. No, that's skills. Garrison, I won't focus on garrison commanders because I'm not there yet. I will be focusing on attack. I made a mistake here. I shouldn't have gone this way. This is pretty good, but I don't want him. I don't want this. Like, I could have focused it somewhere else, like here. What we want here is this, because it increases attack by 1.5 if commander star level. So if you get him to 6 star, that's 6, that's 9 attack extra. So the higher your commander start, it's better. This is like every time these commander troops are attacked, you gain 6 rage, pretty standard. During battle, increase all damage dealt by 2.5 every second. So the longer the battle goes, the higher the damage you do. So by the end of 100 seconds, you do 25%. No, you get... Oh no, wait. After 40 seconds, you get 10% more damage. Counter attack, pretty good because it's infantry. This is pretty good as well. Since you're gonna be focusing more on normal attacks, this could be leveled up, but not yet. This is okay if you're constantly fighting, otherwise it's useless. This is pretty good as well. Increase damage by 2 for next 3 seconds, so it's gonna be like 10 seconds, but you cannot use skill. So I don't know the interaction yet between this. to be honest, but I think the skill is gonna wait until it goes off, and then you're gonna be basically doing damage with the skill. Then you have the infantry, blah blah, increase defense, that's good. Normal attack, health. When the armor level contains only infantry, this is pretty good because you're gonna be going. What you want to focus first is going for this part, definitely. If you're gonna be trying to focus only fighting cavalry, you want to go this. Otherwise, well, you have to go if you want to go this. And this is, it's not so good, but you want to go here. And this army lead only contains infantry, increased by 2.5% in the end. I'm reading the final because it goes by 0.5 and then you get to 2.5. So that's pretty good. You get full infantry army, boom, pretty good deal. What you want to do is, well, if you're going full infantry, go this tree. If you're gonna be mixing up a little bit, go this, in my opinion. Garrison is okay, but you don't go infantry then, you go garrison, and then you buff them up with this. Like, this is like what you need, definitely what you need. If you want to do anything, you need this parts right here. After that, you can choose whatever you want to do. If you have any questions, you can always leave and ask me. Like, leave a message and ask me. Cleopatra, gathering commander, and a buffer. She's very easy to get if you spend money. If you don't spend money, you can get her through events and random sculptures, blah blah blah. This is what you really want from her. Healing factor and defense bonus. So if you pair her with one of the commanders and you're fighting AoE PvP with lots of all your friends or blah blah blah, you really want her just to level this up to max, and then as a secondary commander, you don't really care about talents. So I went wrong tree here. I should have gone gathering. I'll probably respec her once I have time. But other than that, that's it. The skills, she gets more resources, higher siege unit, attack, and defense. This is not that great, but you know. Load bonus, you get 50 more shit in her. Bonus gathering, speed stone, and other resources. This is pretty great. You want her max, and you will get a great gathering commander. So you have 3 gathering commanders so far, which is Gaius, Sarka, and Cleo. They're all very easy to get. Now I'm gonna explain gathering, integration, and support tree. I didn't actually go through the support tree when I was talking about Lohar, so I'm gonna do that quickly now. Or I did. Maybe I did. Anyway, again, rage, healing effects, higher, reduce skill damage, nice. When you get healed, you get 9% increased attack, so basically you're buffing, healing, and attacking. Additional 5 skill damage reduction, which is to 15%. Instantly restores 150 rage whenever a skill is used. This is actually not that important. I would skip this altogether and I would go something else, like either focus on fully peacekeeping tree or going for this. That's it. Scipio. So we have Scipio, which is one of the Romans unit. Oh my god, I have so many left. So many left. We have military life. Reduce damage taken by troops by 25. So like you get 25 reduction and then you get 25 counter-attack damage, which is pretty good. Attack bonus and healing. So 10 chance to increase your slip attack by 60 for next 1 second. So your next attack is gonna be basically 100%. Every 5 seconds, Scipio has 10 chance to heal, blah blah, when his army has less than 40 of its units remaining. So the less army he has, you get like the healing. This is getting activated when you have less than 40%. Increase the damage by 7% when you're attacking other cities. Increase maximum troop capacity by 10%, because you always, whenever you're attacking another city, you need more troops, because whoever is on defense has an advantage always. And then you have Patient Warrior, which is basically buffing up the healing part and the bonus damage by increasing it. Healing gets to 500 and you get 5% extra chance to do that. So that's pretty much it. Skill wise, I went the wrong tree with him because I'm trying to do something, but I went for more like, I'm not gonna use him for conquering, I'm gonna use him for some other stuff. What you want is, again, this tree in attack. I'm just experimenting, I'm not even using him, so mind you, this is like a test. Like, this is for, I'm trying to see what's good for him, but this is pretty good. This is pretty good, so you get maximum troop capacity. Basically, it's buffing up your defense and attack. This is pretty bad. I don't like when it goes to 50 strength, but that time that means that something is either going wrong. Yes, it will give you an advantage if both of you are at the same page, but not really that great. 5% extra damage if this commander is a rally leader, so that's pretty good. Other than that, it's same story with this. Get to this part. Conquering, I said I'm not gonna do explanation. This is if you're gonna be raiding a lot, you want extra troop load so you can get more resources. To kill Watchtower faster, reduce damage taken, so that's pretty good. You want these two definitely. Well, this army is led by 19 crystal damage, so basically at 90% you can gain 9% extra damage, reduce counterattack damage again. This is good, but I wouldn't go any, like, for rallies I would never go this way. Like, there's no point. Like here and here, it's a waste of resources. Then you have reduces damage taken from garrison, so you get to reduce damage by 6%. Increase damage dealt. You can see where this is going. One is offense, one is defense, and decreases the number of units that die. This is like the best thing in the tree. Like, this is the, like, when you're going PvP, you need to go this. Like full. Just go this part, and the rest you don't really need to care. You get 10% less death in the rally, so that's what you really need. The rest, I wouldn't, like, some people are leveling him as Conqueror. I tried going leadership attack. Who knows, I'll probably gonna change him. I'm not really fan of Scipio, but he's a great all-around commander overall. Tome Gozen, she's not the gatherer. You get her at the start usually. She's good as a secondary commander because she actually increases skill damage by 15. So if you pair her up with a Minamoto at start, she's pretty good. Attack bonus, archer attack, so like she's mainly archer and reduces the damage. But don't get me wrong, the blue commanders are nice if you're free to play, otherwise I wouldn't use them that much. He's focused on cavalry. I'm not gonna talk a lot about that, like direct damage, more like cavalry and damage tank. You're not gonna be using those, trust me. If you're going for PvP, you will not be able to use those that much, for sure. You need strong commanders. If you have weak commanders like this, you're just losing troops and battles. It's not worth it, because the weaker the commander is, and the more wounded you have, the more you need to spend resources and healing on your troops, and that makes you weaker. If you're gonna battle like for first month or two, focus on having 1 or 2 really strong primary commanders and 2 secondary commanders. Always. Because what I do, I have these 3. This is for PvE, this is for catching people and for killing events, basically for catching people, because he's speeding Gonzalez. And this is for one-on-one straight fights. Like, they're not perfect, those 3, but they do their job, and I'm rotating between them. That was my plan. If you have other commanders, do like that. Try to rotate. I only can do 1 commander at the moment because I fought a lot in PvP before, so I'm missing 100,000 troops or something, and I'm not spending extra lot money like some other people are, so I cannot compete. I am in top 20, aroundish, something, on the server, but I still cannot compete with some people that are even lower than me because they invested in other things that I didn't. Because I'm trying to use both building and research and all that crap. I'm not only investing in troops, so if you're only investing in troops, you're gonna fall off later in the game. City Keeper, You can use him for garrison, that's it. I'm not gonna talk about this. Kusunoki, in my opinion, very weak. You can use him as a garrison commander, but that's it. He's archer commander, not really great start. I don't want to talk. Like, archery is here. I'm not gonna talk about this because if you're going for archer commander, you're going to the wrong guy. I'm not focusing on archery. Like, my troops are, as it stands, like this: full cavalry, 23 infantry, and 6 archery. So I'm not focusing on archers at all. Like, I still need more cavalry to fill out my ranks. So archery I'm not gonna explain today. Some other time when I start focusing on them, sure. Constance, again, gathering commander. Unlucky. I'm not sure why I'm not getting her sculptures. Like, she's very, very weird to get. I'm not gonna explain. Again, gathering. That's it. Markswoman, weak hero, good for starting. You get her at the start. Other than that, don't focus her. Julius Caesar, or Julius Caesar, which is the proper way how to call him. You get him through the event, the mightiest governor, which is pretty hard, so you need to be always in top 100 to even get a chance to get him. He's good in long combats. You get a lot of damage taken reduced, additional damage reduction, attack defense bonus, damage bonus for 5 seconds. This is pretty great overall. He's good at attacking other cities because they get less defense. Trooper capacity 15%, which is one of the highest in the game, so that's pretty good. And you buff up your main skill to, you get 400 damage, and you buff up the defense of the troops and increase all damage for 5 seconds, which is pretty great. If you pair him up with somebody that grants rage or something, he's pretty good. Again, leadership, conquering, attack. I'm not gonna explain what to do with it because depends what you're gonna use him for. I would primarily use him to fight, to use him as a rally for the cities. Yeah, I would definitely use him for that. Definitely, nothing else, because he's pretty good with that. He's really hard to get. You cannot get him past server 1000. I think so, something like that. I don't remember actually, but the only way to get him is pre certain set of servers or kingdoms. If you want to know the details, there's Wikipedia page which can explain. But you can also get him through Wheel of Fortune, because I got him here. So if you're not making a jumper account, don't sweat it. Just wait for the Wheel of Fortune after a month or so. I think so. That's how all the servers work. Richard's 1 sculpture, 5%, 5, and then you get 5 legendary. And if you pay maybe 10,000 gems, and if you're lucky, you get more. I got 19 in total by spinning, well, apparently 22 times. So that's pretty good. I'm gonna explain the build for him. I'm gonna be working on him next after Cao Cao, definitely. This is pretty great. He's great at defending himself. So what you want to do is, actually, him and Sun Tzu are a really great combination together, if you're gonna do it. Or, in my opinion, like, you get healing factor, like, so you heal a lot of troops. You get damage reduction to the enemy, so they reduce, they do less damage, and you get march speed to 15%, so they are slower. So that's pretty great. You get a lot of things in one skill. That's gonna be popped a lot of times. Then you get increased troop damage reduction by 5% and counter attack damage by 4, so you get 15 to 10. So you get less damage even more, and you get more counter attack damage. Like, this is one of my favorite at the moment. It can also be paired with Boudica if you really want to try something, in my opinion. Attack of infantry defense, 15-15, pretty great, nothing more to explain there. Increased healing effects by troops to 30%, and damage taken from watchtowers reduced. So if you pair him with Julius and have both of them in the same army, rally, Julius is gonna reduce the damage from watchtowers. No, oh. Well, I don't know. Like, there's so much damage reduction there that it's gonna be naturable. But the healing effect is a lot. So 30% bonus, and you get, so what? It's 1,400 plus 30% of that. Let's say it's 2,000 almost. And then you have Tyrannical Lion, which reduces all damage taken by 5%, increase all damage dealt to cavalry units by infantry units by 2%. In addition, every 10 seconds, decrease target march speed by 50% for 5. He's basically anti-cavalry commander, which is pretty good. That's why I wanted him. What you want to do, these three work well together. They are expensive, but they work very, very well together. Oh yeah, I want to do, like, infantry defense, yeah? They're, like, if you pair these two, like, I think Mountain from our server had them before, and they worked really great. He was fighting like 5 people alone, and he barely lost. I want to show the defense tree, sorry about that. So again, you have 1.5 blah blah, same as the attack. Again, rage, normal truth, reduce all damage, reduce damage taken by 1%. Like, this is good if you're playing defensively, otherwise don't take it. Reduce damage, counter attack, reduce skill damage again. This is, I would go this way, not this way, in my opinion. After using it, he heals a portion of slight wound, so this is definitely a must. Accumulation. This is, I wouldn't go for this. Like, I would go rather infantry then. Like, I would try to get as much as I can from infantry tree then, but I wouldn't go this. At the moment, this part and this part. Like, this part, sorry. Like, those would be a must. Everything else, I wouldn't take. Infantry, same. It depends what you're using him. Charles Martel, pretty great. I'm not gonna explain the skill tree. We have, talent tree. We have a massive shield that can absorb damage and increases damage by 30% while the shield is active. Basically, for the next 4 seconds, you get bonus damage and damage reduction in total. Infantry unit defense and the health, which is pretty good with him, so you get more healing and stuff like that. Increase watchtower defense if you're garrisoning, and garrison damage, so basically you're using him as a garrison commander. Increase troop counter-attack damage by 30%, and you buff up your infantry even more. So this is pretty neat. This is pretty neat as well. So these two work very well together. Like I said, there was I've seen them in action early on in the game. They work well. Sun Tzu, infantry garrison skill. I would personally go garrison with Sun Tzu, because if people are attacking, you want the area shaped cone for defense, but you can always go like infantry or skill. Direct damage, additional damage, rage restored, pretty good. So the more targets you hit, the more rage you get restored. Like, if you hit 5 targets, or I mean 3 targets, you get what, 150 rage? Pretty good. Garrison. Increase troop damage, increases infantry. This is pretty great as well. Increase active skill damage by 20%, so this is pretty good with Minamoto. And this increases to 5 targets, damage factor 800, and deals 200 extra damage on next turn. So overall, he's pretty good general to start with as well, if you're going infantry. Integration, gathering support, this is your Joan of Arc. Integration, very weak tree. What I'm building her here is going gathering, because she's gonna be my secondary commander, not my main. Otherwise, you go this way, and this way. And then you go this way. That's it. I cannot recommend anything else in that tree. The first thing is what you really want. This is a must, like level 5 Divine Revelation. This is the gathering skill. So if you're gonna build her as a gatherer, you can do that. Healing, same like Boudica or some other heroes, pretty nice. Normal attack, 25%. Like, I really think this works well with Boudica's 4th as well, because it gives more damage overall. And the final basically buffs up her first skill to 4 seconds and extra 10 rage per second. So that's pretty good. El Cid, very weak. Deal damage, additional damage. Archer, reduction to 50% as a fucking passive skill is fucking stupid, but that's just me. And then increased damage to dealt to infantry by archery. This is good if you're going against infantry. And like if you're going full archery against infantry, this is pretty good. So, but other than that, I wouldn't use it. You have versatility tree, which I didn't explore that much, but basically it combines all the other trees into one thing. It's like a shitty tree, in my opinion. Mehmed, leadership, conquering skills. So he's basically your Scipio, your Caesar. Direct damage, forward facing fanship. So he's like something like Sun Tzu, just bigger. Increased troop attack, increased skill damage. That's again same like Sun Tzu. When attacking cities, like the Sun Tzu is more defensive, while Mehmed is more offensive. So normal attacks do a lot of more damage. This is the same as El Cid. Yes. And increase troop capacity by 10% and rally capacity. This is really great if you're rallying shit, because you will have more troops, and at the end rallied army is gonna have more troops. So this is buffing up your first spell by 200, and then another 100, and then has 50 chance to deal second burst of additional to city garrison and watchtowers by 500. So basically it does a lot of damage. So I think overall, if you pair him and Julius, fuck me, you're gonna do a lot of damage, but you don't have that much survivability. Herman, archer garrison skill, shit. Like this is one of the reasons why you don't go Germany at the start. Not really that great. I'm not even gonna explain this. These are really stupid. Pelagius as well. He's okay, but not that great. You get 10% attack, defense. Then you have garrison, and cavalry is not garrison actually. Then you have healing. They're not so bad, but they're not so great. And 15% increase of cavalry and attack and defense. You have Belisarius, cavalry piece. He's like a little cow. Like you get attack, defense, direct damage. Cow would get healing. No, he wouldn't. He would have the same thing. He would have march speed reduction and higher damage, of course. But that's like a little cow. That's bonus damage to barbarians, same as cow. Cavalry defense bonus. March speed is higher than cow, but only after leaving a battle. So you get greater speed. When you reduce to 50%, increased damage dealt to target. So when he's good, when the enemy is less than 50%, then you show him in and boom, he does a lot more damage. Oh, not that great. This is also really good, 30% defense of cavalry units, and then you get march speed by 50%. So overall, he's a pretty decent commander. If you're gonna be focusing on cavalry and from the start, you can go Byzantium. Otherwise, not that great. But if you don't want to spend money for the legendaries, that's it. Baibars, cavalry conqueror skill. Don't really like him, but march speed reduction is pretty great to all 3 targets. Attack by 20% in total when attacking cities, 7/7. So that's pretty nice. Up a living battle, but not when it heals a portion of slightly wounded unit, so it's like 200, and then you get march speed by 50%. That's actually really OP. It was 70% if I remember correctly. So you can do hit and run tactics with the cavalry, what I was talking about earlier. And this is basically buffing up your first skill, so you reduce the march speed by 50% and damage is increased to 1000 and maximum 5 targets. Osman, leadership, conquering skill. He's basically your skill dude that's gonna do a lot of skill damage to cities. Increased attack by 5%, like that's 50% after 30 seconds for 120 seconds. So what you want to do you want to kill the city in 150 seconds. But what you really want to do is you want to slowly attack in city and abuse that 15% damage. After an active skill use deals additional damage by 400. This is like combining Minamoto skill, but this is for sure doing damage. Minamoto has 50% chance. Increase troop capacity, which is great, and buff up his main. He's basically a skill nuker. He's like weaker Minamoto. I don't know. Weaker Minamoto. That's it. And then we have the last force that we didn't recruit yet. Constantine, infantry garrison support. Decrease target attack by 40%, damage taken reduced by 10%. He's good for area. So him, Joan and Cleo really great in buffing up the area. 10% less damage. Health of infantry units by 40%. Amazing. 40% extra health on infantry units, and infantry units are primarily tankers. Increases the attack of garrison by 2%, attack of watchtower when this comes blah blah blah. He's really good on defensive. And then you have this like a resurrection thing, where you get it to like you heal shitloads of troops when you're at 50% once per hour after the army has left the city. That's pretty good. Increased troop attack by 15 and defense by. Overall, pretty good commander. This is a really big deal if you're gonna be fighting battles by an hour. Otherwise, if you're constantly fighting, it's useless because you're only gonna get it once, but it can save your fucking ass. Really great thing. 40% increased health of infantry units, and like this is a must. 40 to 10, like the enemy does 40% less damage and damage taken reduced by 10%. Infantry garrison support, not really to explain. This guy was nerfed because he was too OP to enemy. Like this was I think almost 2000 or something. I don't remember correctly. At most 5 targets, 1.4k. Rage restored by 100 and archer attack by 100. Pretty great. Serving like garrison, pretty nice. Garrison watchtower attack bonus by 10%. Active skill damage by 50%, and this was actually why he was pretty good. Imagine pairing him and Minamoto nuking the shit out of you by 50 fucking %. Oh my god, that's so disgusting. And then both of them have nuking. Like, what's Minamoto's? 1.4 plus 2 times 600, yeah? And then you have this guy that does 1.7 to 5 people. Fuck's sake. And 1.4 before you get the expertise, but and then you get bonus to all that, so you get 2.1 and 2.1. Like shitloads of damage. Like that's an insane amount of damage. That's like the highest nuking power you can get there. You just need this and this. Somehow you need to get those maxed, and you're happy. The rest of the shit is like this could be useful, but other than that, this is fucking useless if you're gonna be using him as a fucking nuker. This is one of the greatest builds you can make. 50%. Holy fuck. Hannibal you can only get by spending a lot of money after you max, after VIP 10, I think, or VIP 11. Tammy from my alliance has it. She has it. He's pretty neat. 400 damage, which actually later on upgrades to area effect. Damage reduction by 25, defense reduction by 25. Pretty good. More unit types, bonus damage. Very simple. Other healing factor, so you get healing whenever you're attacking. He's pretty good actually with you can make him work with other generals, definitely, like Caesar or Saladin, I think, or whoever. What? Mehmet, sorry. You can make him work with that. This is actually Saladin. And troop capacity by 10% and damage bonus by 15 every time you use a skill, so that's pretty enormous. And then you convert this into area effect. His ultimate is not so great because you're gonna be fighting cities, and usually when you're fighting cities you're fighting single target, so in my opinion this is a waste, but that's just me. Then we have Saladin. Cavalry conquering support, which is kind of different than the usual stuff. You have he's anti-healing commander. So basically, Richard is healing, buffing healing. He's reducing healing. And actually, when you're clicking on the commanders, Richard is saying, "I'm gonna get you Saladin" and stuff like that. If you want to have some laugh about that. So you have deals direct damage to the target, reduces target march, and decreases healing effect by 20 for the next 5 seconds. So that's pretty neat amount. Like that's a lot of shit on one skill. Like for catching people, very very good. I want him. Increase cavalry attack by 8, defense by 8, and march speed by 1. So what you do, you lose the march speed from Cao Cao or Minamoto. Like if I would go for this, I would definitely go for Cao Cao and Saladin as my cavalry commanders because they're simply really really good. I would lose like 5% from Minamoto because Minamoto only gives 10%, so that wouldn't be a problem. It would reduce my marching speed. Reduce skill damage taken from enemies by 10% and reduce counter attack damage by taken by 8%. So this again a lot of shit. Like this commander is really great. And then increase damage dealt to city garrison by 3%. However, Saladin army is never upon the resources when attacking other governor cities. So what you want to do is he's gonna go there. He's gonna burn the fucking city to the ground, and then you go with your secondary armies and deals direct damage to target. So basically it increases to 1.7, increase march speed reduction to 50, and the healing effects to 50. Really bad. So that's your commanders for today. I didn't check even if there's any questions. No questions. We did this in 1 hour and 6 minutes, which is pretty great. Anyway, I will end this now. We did most of the commanders. I hope you liked the video. If you want detailed descriptions of the... Oh, fuck, I forgot about Frederick. Oh my god, I forgot about him. Fuck's sake, we need to do him before I go. And I'm ignoring my friends, so... Stay on your horse. So we have... He's basically your Germany leadership conquering skill. We have additional damage factor by 80%. So that's pretty good. Troops normal attacks to heal. Pretty good. Increase all damage when attacking other governor cities. Again, similar like other generals. And troop capacity by 15%. Really, really good. So imagine having him and Caesar increase that by 30 fucking percent your army. And then you have this, which is making sure that whenever you pop your skill, you do 100, like you have 100 chance to deal damage factor 800 to the target. So every second you do 800 damage. What this ensures is that he's good pairing with, let's say, Richie, Caesar, even Boudica. Like, fuck's sake, I'm gonna say Boudica because I love her. Like, I really am in love with Boudica. She's pretty great. If I could change her name, I would change her. I wouldn't change her name. Fuck it. She's Boudica forever. She's really good. I didn't summon him yet because I don't want to spend money. Whenever you summon a legendary hero, you get a pop-up. Do you want to buy and spend money for like 5 years? You get like some stuff. So I'm waiting because I want to see what I'm gonna focus next. I want to focus Richie definitely. I want to make an infantry now next after I maximize my cavalry at 135 tier 4s. I'm gonna start focusing on infantry a lot more because there's a lot of commanders there with a lot of cavalry, and Richard is gonna be perfect for decimating them. So thanks for watching. My name was Kurtsukista, and this is the game I'm playing at the moment. It's Rise of Civilization. It's taking a lot of my time. I wish I could continue playing Red Dead. At the moment, I couldn't play it for a month, and then my friend actually borrowed me Xbox, and I cannot continue playing it. I'm so sorry. Like, for fuck's sake. Anyway, until next time, maybe something familiar we'll see in some of the games I played before. See ya.